what we will do from here on out is when you enter Google Meet, you will come in with your mic already muted, okay? So please mute your mic. I'll hold up the symbol, and if you don't know how, okay? So if you were not here yesterday, whenever I hold up this symbol, that means to mute your mic, okay? However, if you do not know how to mute your mic, if you scroll down, sorry, let me put it in the thing. If you scroll down the screen, you'll see these three symbols, okay? You're going to click on the one that looks like a mic, and when you click on it, it'll mute your mic, okay? If you still don't know how, I'll mute you myself. Okay guys, so it is 8:06. We are now going to start. So welcome to August 13, 2020's e-learning day. It's your second day of school. And we're pretty much going to follow what we did yesterday, where we started the morning meeting and we just went over how we greet one another. Okay. So we're going to start off with our greeting of the day. If you were not here yesterday, before we enter the classroom, even if you were at school, you would stand in the hallway when the bell rings and you would choose a greeting to do with me before we enter the classroom. So I'm going to start out with Wilfred because you are the first one on my screen. We have these little symbols here, okay? And some of them say spirit fingers, they say air hug, it says blow me a kiss, a salute, a wave, a wink. And you can choose the greeting that you're going to do with me this morning. So, what would you like to do with me this morning, Wilfred? Wave? Okay, good morning, Wilfred. Emily, what would you like to do with me? Good morning, Emily. Drake, what would you like to do with me? Okay, good morning, Drake. A lot of waves today. Noah, what would you like to do with me? Hi, good morning, Noah. Kane, what would you like to do with me? Okay, salutes. All right, Ashlyn. Hi, good morning, Ashlyn. Jada. What was that? That's a wave? Okay, good morning, Jada. Okay, you're going to mute your mic again. Quentin? All right, good morning, Quentin. And Cervantes, what would you like to do? Oh, spirit fingers. All right, awesome. That went a lot faster than yesterday. So that's telling me we're doing an amazing job. We will now do our greeting to each other, okay? So if you weren't here yesterday, the first thing you do before you enter the classroom is greet me. And then we enter the classroom at 7:30 in the morning if we were at school because you would eat breakfast in my classroom, just kind of like you did last year. And then at 8 o'clock when the bell rings, we would go to our morning circle rug area. And then I will call someone using the Batman symbol. All of your names are on these sticks, okay? And then I would call someone using the Batman symbol, and they would choose a greeting from the jar. But like I said yesterday, since you're not here, what I will do is I will choose the greeting for you, and you will be the first one to greet, okay? So let's see what our greeting is today. And yesterday's greeting was funny. We did alien voice. All right. Batman. Noah, you get to do the greeting of the day first, okay? So I'm going to choose it, and I'm going to greet you, and then I'm going to tell you who to greet, okay? And when I tell you who to greet, you can mute your mic. So our greeting of the day today is tip your hat, okay? So kind of pretend like you have a cowboy hat, okay? So today's greeting is tip your hat. Good morning. So it's tip hat. Good morning, Noah. All right, Noah, you're going to say good morning to Wilfred.
Good morning, Wilfred.
You can say good morning to Noah. Tip your hat.
Good morning, Noah.
Awesome. Wilfred, you'll say good morning to Emily.
Good morning, Emily.
You're doing an amazing job, Wilfred. Good job. Okay, Emily, you will now say good morning to Wilfred. Okay, now Emily, you'll say good morning to Drake. Awesome. Drake, you will say good morning to Emily.
Good morning, Emily.
Awesome. Drake, you will say good morning to Kane.
Good morning, Kim.
Awesome. Kane, you will say good morning to Drake.
Good morning, Drake.
Ashlyn, you will say good morning to Kane.
Good morning, Kane.
All right. Ashlyn, you will say good morning to Jada.
Good morning, Jada.
Good job. Jada, you'll say good morning to Ashlyn.
Good morning, Ashley.
Perfect. Okay, Jada, please say good morning to Amani Ann.
Good morning, Amani.
Perfect. Amani, please say good morning to Jada.
Good morning, Jada.
Okay, Amani, please say good morning to Cervantes.
Good morning, Cervantes.
Good job. And lastly, Cervantes, can you say good morning to Amani?
Good morning, Amani.
You guys did an amazing job on that. We are doing a lot better than yesterday, so this is awesome. Okay, now once again, for the first week of school, we're just going to go over our expectations, but like yesterday, you guys did so well. But since we have new faces, we're just going to go over it again. One of my expectations is now when you come into Google Meet, you will always have the mute mic button on. And whenever you see this symbol, you guys know that we have to immediately mute our mic because Miss Nagy is going to start teaching. And when she's teaching, you guys can hear each other. And so it makes it hard to hear me, okay? So whenever you see this symbol, that means mute your mic, okay? Whenever you see this symbol, that means to unmute your mic, meaning that I want to hear you, okay? So don't do it right now. This is just for showing purposes, okay? And then one of our last major symbols is whenever Mrs. Nagy puts this one up, you all know that that means that you need to go to your Google Classroom, okay? So if I put this symbol up, that means we have to go to Google Classroom. And I know every single one of you now knows how to go to Google Classroom because that's how you get into this meeting, okay? All right. Our second expectation is at all times you will have your video on. I must see your face, okay? So Ashlyn, if you can come back, that would be great. Thank you. Another one of our expectations is to be on time, okay? Just like if we were going to school, you're not supposed to be late for school, right? So Ms. Nagy will always open up the meetings at 7:55, and then we will start at 8:05. So if you can be here by 8 o'clock, because that's when the first bell goes off, that would be great, okay? But I will give you a leisure time of 5 minutes to get here. All right, our next one is always keep your mic muted, but if you have a question, I can see all of you. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, okay? Don't immediately unmute your mic and cut me off, okay? So just raise your hand and I will stop and answer your question, okay? Our next one is whenever I put an assignment up in Google Classroom, you are to complete your work in a timely fashion. That means that day. However, I do understand that sometimes we're sick or that day we can't sign in or, we just don't have Wi-Fi that day. I expect the work done within the week, okay? So if you can't sign in that day, say it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, all work is due on Sunday of that week, okay? So I give you a grace period. Our next expectation is to always sit in a place that is quiet, okay? Like I said yesterday, I know we have baby siblings and we got loud people in our house. So don't worry, I understand. But if we could sit in a quiet place, that would be great. Our next expectation is to always be respectful, not just to me, but to your classmates, okay? And what is respectful to me is, always raising your hand, using kind words. If in 2 weeks when we start doing our curriculum and I tell someone to answer a math question or to read out loud and they're struggling and you snicker or you make fun of them, I'm going to be very upset, okay? because I don't like that. And if I ever made a mistake, I know my friends wouldn't laugh at me. They will help me out, okay? Another one is to stay focused. I know that our home life can be hectic sometimes, but that is why I asked you to sit in a quiet place, okay? So let's just stay focused. And the last expectation is to eat during your break times. You already know that I will give you 5-minute breaks after each lesson. Starting in 2 weeks, when we start our days from 8 to 3, you will have a full 1-hour lunch break, okay? On top of your 5-minute breaks when I provide them for you. So at no time should you be eating while we are talking to one another, okay? You should only be eating on your lunch breaks or your small in-between lesson breaks, okay? So far, don't unmute your mic, but give me a thumbs up if you understand so far. Okay. Guys, since we are continuing to freeze, what I need you to do right now is I need you to go to Google Classroom and I need you to start on your spelling assignment for the next 15 minutes. Hopefully in the next 15 minutes, this lagging will stop, okay? So at this time, go do your spelling games. Okay, at this time, please click off of spelling and rejoin me. Okay, perfect. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you are off of the spelling and you are ready to move on. Awesome, great job. Okay, so still stay muted, okay? Because now we're going to do question of the day. So when I call your name, you are going to unmute yourself and answer, okay? So just like yesterday, we have a jar here with all your names on them, and I'm going to pick someone, and I would choose the question of the day. I'll go first to show you a sample of how we answer, and then the person whose name comes out will answer after me, okay? Batman. Wilfred! You got question of the day. Yay, your first day. Okay. So our question of the day is, what is one way we can help our teacher today? What is one way we can help our teacher today? I will answer first. One way that we can help me is to keep our mics muted until she tells you to unmute your mic, okay? Now, Wilfred, you get to answer next. What is one way you can help me out today?
Not give her an attitude and stuff.
I love it. Not to give me an attitude. Awesome. Now you're going to mute your mic. Jada, what's one way you can help out your teacher today?
By cleaning.
You said by cleaning?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to clean with me today? Not mommy. How are you going to help your teacher? So you're going to help me clean? Okay. Cervantes, how can you help out your teacher today?
Raising their hand before just open their mics.
Thank you. Raising your hand before you unmute yourself. Love it. Quentin, how can you help out your teacher today?
To be listening to you and raise your hand.
Okay, to listen to me and to raise your hand. All right, Ashlyn, how can you help me out today?
By being respectful and listening.
By being respectful and listening. Awesome. Soraya, how can you help me out today?
Making sure you have all my.
Okay, great job. And lastly, Emily, how can you help out your teacher today?
Spelling.
Okay, great. All right, good job. That was question of the day. Hopefully we get it a little bit smoother, or it will go a lot better once we're in the classroom, okay? So after question of the day, we are going to do our class pet. So I showed you Marvin yesterday, and yesterday Cervantes was picked, okay? So Cervantes, You said that you didn't have a pet, right? So you were assigned to tell us what pet you would like me to convince your parents to buy you, and why you want that pet and what you would name it. So what is a pet that you would want your parents to buy you?
A dog.
A dog. Okay. Do you have a name for that dog?
Rocky.
Rocky. So do you want like a baby dog, like a puppy, or do you want a big dog?
Big dog.
You want a big dog. Okay. And why would you want that dog?
He can protect me in the water when I feel like I'm about to drown.
Okay, cool. I know I've seen a lot of videos where dogs, when they think their owner is in danger, they'll jump in water to save them. It's kind of cool. They're awesome animals. Thank you, Cervantes. So does anyone have a question for Cervantes about his dream pet? Okay, so Drake, unmute your mic and you can ask Cervantes your question.
When you get the dog, you gotta train it to swim. But some of them just don't know how to.
Oh, so dogs are not natural swimmers? You gotta train them?
No, they're basically train themselves. So if they see them running, they'll probably go in, but they might be close to them. But they'll still try their hardest.
Oh, see, I just learned some today from Drake. I thought dogs were just natural, like, dog paddled animals. Okay. Does anyone have another question for Cervantes? Well, thank you, Cervantes, for that, and I hope that your parents buy you that dog, okay? Now, I'm going to choose the person for tomorrow, okay? Batman. Soraya. Soraya, do you have a pet? No? So what you'll do tomorrow is, and I see, is that mom or dad in the background? You can unmute your mic. Okay, so what you'll do tomorrow is you'll tell us a pet that you would like your parent to buy you, what you would name it, and why you want that pet, and I'll try to convince your parents to buy it for you. I can't promise nothing, but I'll try to convince them to buy you a pet, okay? So tomorrow, for Marvin, you'll just tell us what pet you want, and then you'll tell us why you want it and what you'll name it, okay? All right, Soraya, you can mute your mic. Awesome job, guys. You got through Marvin. We're almost done with our morning meeting, so we'll go over our schedule for the day now. Okay, so here's our schedule. All right, so here's our schedule. Today, 8 o'clock was morning meeting, and I'm so glad all of you attended. At 8:25, we will do our poem of the week, which was just the poem yesterday. And I'll just read it again to you. You guys have already completed your spelling, so great job. Then we'll move on to our reading block, and this time I will show a video to you, but it won't be like yesterday's where you just see a video of a girl talking. This one will be a book being read, okay? And then we're going to talk about the book. At 9:35, we will do our writing block, which is just what we did yesterday, only this time now you're going to officially choose your prompt and you're going to write about it, okay? And I'll be here to help you every step of the way. At 10 o'clock, we will be doing Some Dog for math, okay? So I sent all of your parents out your username and password yesterday. If you don't have it, I have it right in front of me, okay? So today will be Some Dog because I felt really bad for yesterday and the fact that we had some trouble, okay? Then at 10:50, we will start our first reading of Old Yeller, the one that you guys chose yesterday. So if you weren't here yesterday, we did a voting system, and you guys choose which book that we read for the month, and everybody did their vote, and we ultimately came up with the book Old Yeller, okay? So if you weren't here yesterday, it's about Kane. Give me 1 second, okay? I see your hand. It's about a little boy who finds a dog, and at first he really doesn't like the dog, but he comes to love it, and it's a very sad story, okay? And then after our reading at 11 o'clock, we'll have our final thoughts, where Miss Nagy would say something that we need to improve on or how well it went, and then you guys can tell me, okay, Miss Nagy, you need some improvements as well, okay? So you guys have that option to say, Miss Nagy, you need to improve too, not just us. All right, so after the schedule, you will now come to your first, let's look at the time. You will come to your first 7-minute break, okay? So you will come back at 9:05. Please do not shut down your screen. Just step away, okay? You may go potty. Kane, I'll answer your question in a minute. You may go potty, get a snack, okay, and be back at 9:05. Oh, actually, apology. Unmute your mic. Before the poem of the week, we do the class pledge. So at this time, unmute your mic. So everyone unmute your mic. And remember that when we do the pledge, it's an echo, okay? So I'll read one line and then you echo it back to me, okay? So when I read in Mrs. Nagy's class, you will then say in Mrs. Nagy's class, okay? So let's start. In Mrs. Nagy's class.
In Mrs. Nagy's class.
Good job. We use kind words.
We use kind words.
And work quietly. We work hard.
We work hard.
And help. There we go. We need to do it all together, okay? We are kind.
We are
Happy. And respectful. We respect our classroom. And always keep it clean. We are a great classroom.
We are a great class.
Awesome. Okay, at this time, mute your mics. I'll hold up the symbol. Mute your mics. We will do the poem of the week, okay? The poem of the week is called Welcome Students. I am so glad I am your teacher. I'm so excited to see you grow. I can't believe the second day is here. I hate to see summer go. I know you are scared, and I am too, but I simply remember I couldn't be a great teacher without special kids like you. And I really mean that, okay? After the poem of the week, because I have our whole schedule out right now, we will move into our reading block, okay? So you don't have to really do anything for the reading block. I'm going to share my screen again, okay? And then I'm going to ask you guys questions. So the story that we will be reading today is called Stand in My Shoes, okay? And for our reading block, I will be asking you guys questions. So when I call your name, just unmute yourself and you will answer the question, okay? So today's story, like I said, is called Stand in My Shoes. So before we start reading, we're going to think about this question, okay? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about it after I read it to you, and then I'm going to start calling on you. Have you ever noticed when someone was feeling sad, angry, upset, or any other emotion where they might need someone to make them feel better? Okay, so think about if you have ever noticed when mommy or daddy or your brother or sister or friend, auntie, uncle was feeling sad, angry, or upset, and they probably needed someone to make them feel better. So we're going to start with Soraya. Soraya, can you unmute your mic and tell me if you've ever noticed when someone was sad, angry, or upset and probably needed someone to make them feel better? Also, Soraya, you might want to turn on your video. We just see the C for your name.
No.
No, never. Okay, that's okay. Sometimes we're not in tune to other people's feelings, but that's okay. Okay, Kane, have you ever noticed when someone was sad, upset, lonely?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that person feeling? Who was the person?
I don't know anyone that was sad, but I know someone that was angry.
Okay. So you noticed that they were angry? Okay. Jamarcus, can you unmute your mic and can you tell me if there was ever a time where you noticed someone was sad, angry, upset, lonely?
I heard of someone mad.
Okay, so you noticed a time when someone was really, really mad? Okay, good. All right. Mute your mic, Jamarcus. Quinton, was there ever a time when you noticed that someone was sad or upset or lonely?
I heard about someone mad and upset.
Okay. So you knew when someone was upset and angry. That's a very common emotion. We tend to see people upset a lot more than sad, okay? Thank you, Quinton, for your input. You may mute your mic. Wilfred, do you know of a time where someone was sad or angry or lonely?
Sad?
Sad, okay. So far we're noticing when other people outside of ourselves are feeling something. Drake, did you ever notice a time when someone was sad or lonely or angry?
Mad.
Okay, mad. Okay, thank you for your input. Cervantes, did you ever notice when someone was sad or angry or upset or lonely?
I noticed somebody sad.
Okay, so you noticed when someone was kind of feeling down and sad. Okay, I have those moments too. Thank you, Cervantes. Noah, did you ever notice a time when someone was sad or angry or upset?
Yeah.
Yeah, what were they feeling?
Sad.
Okay, so were they kind of like crying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, Amani, have you ever noticed a time when someone was feeling sad or lonely or angry?
Yeah.
Okay, what were they feeling? Okay, they were feeling sad. I saw your lips before you muted it. Okay, so today, guys, our lesson is based off of noticing when other people are kind of sad, okay? So our second question, and we will actually answer after the video, is you will then tell me in that moment when you notice when someone was sad, angry, upset, or experiencing any other emotion, you're going to tell me in this moment, did you try to make them feel better? If you did, what did you do? So we're going to answer that after our video, okay? So at this time, we're going to watch the video with someone reading the book, Stand in My Shoes, okay? And after the video, we will then discuss its message, and then we'll answer whether or not in that moment when you experience someone feeling an emotion, if you helped them out, and what did you do?
A big test. But I just want to talk to you, Emily whined. Alicia closed her book and said, "Can't you have a little empathy?" Emily had no idea what her big sister meant. What's empathy? Empathy is when you understand how someone is feeling because you imagine what it's like to be them or stand in their shoes. People are grateful when you notice how they feel. I'm worried about my test, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd scram so I can study. Emily was grumpy as she left her sister's room, but she thought about Alicia's words. Would people really appreciate it if she noticed how they felt? The next morning, Emily went to the kitchen for breakfast. Her dad was making coffee and had spilled some coffee grounds. He didn't look very happy. "Dad, are you in a hurry?" she asked. "Yes, sweetie. I have a big presentation at work and need to get going." Emily found a wet dish rag. "You look tired, Dad. How about if I clean up the coffee while you get your other stuff together? Would that help?" For a moment, Emily's dad just looked at her. Then he hugged her. "You are the best, Em," he said as he grabbed his coat and hurried out the back door. It was drizzling outside as Emily waited for the school bus. As it pulled up, one of the older kids accidentally knocked into a little girl as she was getting onto the bus. Rosie lost her balance and sat down hard on the wet cement. "Hey!" yelled Emily. "Watch out for the little kids!" Then Emily turned to the little girl. "Well, that's a yucky way to start the day." "I'm okay," Rosie replied, but she struggled with her heavy backpack. Emily took Rosie's hand and pulled her up, and then helped her onto the bus. In class, Mrs. Fitch was not her usual laughing self. After the morning writing lesson, Mrs. Fitch went back to her desk, instead of walking around the classroom like she usually did. Emily noticed that her teacher's eyes were red, and that she wiped her nose on a tissue. "Mrs. Fitch, is there something wrong?" "My little dog Buster died last night," she said quietly. "He was very sick. We were hoping he'd get better, but he didn't." "Oh no," said Emily. "I'm not sure how you feel, but it has to hurt." "It does. Thank you for asking." In the cafeteria, she noticed Mrs. Waddle struggling to lift a tray of steamed vegetables into its place on the serving line. "That sure looks heavy," Emily said. "It is," Mrs. Waddle said. "I get a workout every day when I serve lunch." "That's quite a load of stuff," Emily said to Mr. Redmond as he pushed the cart down the hallway. "I just hope I don't run somebody over." Emily decided to walk in front of the cart, yelling in a loud, clear voice, "Coming through! Our cart! Coming through!" "Get out of my way!" Tommy said as he pushed Samantha, Emily's friend, out of the line. "It's my turn." Tommy did this a lot at recess. "Tommy, how would you like it if someone pushed you out of the line when you were waiting for your turn?" "Probably not good," Tommy replied. "I love the tire swing." "Well, Samantha loves it just as much as you do, so don't push her and try to take cuts, okay?" "Sorry," mumbled Tommy as he walked to the end of the line. After school, Mr. Peterson said, "Hello, Emily. I hope you had a wonderful day." She stopped and looked at him. "I did have a wonderful day, but Mr. Peterson, every day you say something nice to me. You never forget." As she walked to her seat, Emily could hear Mr. Peterson greet each child as they got on the bus. She sat down next to Samantha. When the seats were almost full, Rosie rushed onto the bus out of breath. "Oh no, there isn't a place for me." Emily nudged Samantha and then asked her to slide over. "Rosie, you can sit with us." "I can? Thanks." When Emily got home, her mom asked, "How was your day, Em? You look deep in thought." "I'm fine, but I'm wondering about something." "What's that?" "You always seem to be noticing how I'm feeling." "Well, that's part of being a mom." "But how about you? Who notices how you're feeling?" asked Emily. "Wow, Em," said her mom. "That's a very thoughtful question. I guess the answer is Aunt Carla and my friends Nancy and Shauna, and mostly your dad. Sometimes Alicia, and now you. Why do you ask?" "Just wondering," said Emily. "I'm starving. Is there anything good for a snack?" "Let's make something together." It was almost bedtime. Emily could see Alicia studying in her room. Instead of barging in, Emily knocked on the door. "Can I come in, or are you busy?" "You look like you want to talk," said Alicia. "Come on in." "I've been noticing how people feel," Emily said. "You know, that empathy stuff." "So what happened? What did you learn?" "People really like it when you recognize how they feel. Just noticing seems to touch their hearts." "You got it, Em." "But there's something more. When I care enough to notice how others feel, something changes inside of me," Emily explained. It sounds like you enjoy that feeling. Yes, I really do, replied Emily. Good. Now get out of here so I can study.
Okay, guys, so that was the story, and now we're going to come together. And when I call you, you're going to unmute your mic, and you can tell me what the story was about. So who would like to raise their hand? Okay, Amani, would you like to tell me what that story was about?
How you make people feel and how they feel.
Okay, so it's kind of like noticing how people feel. Good job. You may pause. Wilfred, I saw your hand up. Would you like to tell us what that story was about? And we'll just wait until he has his hand up. Okay, there we go.
It kind of like talks about you, like how they feel about you getting in their way. And
Okay, so kind of like how she really wasn't considerate with her sister at first, where she just constantly kept barging into her room, and we noticed it made the sister upset. Good job, Wilfred. You may mute your mic. Jamarcus, I see your hand. You want to add? Give him 1 second. Good job. You're on now.
It's how people feel and how people be mean to.
Okay. So we're noticing it's a lot about how people feel, but I'm looking for a central message, okay? I'm looking for something. Cervantes, would you like to add? So hold on. He's about to unmute his mic. There we go.
Like noticing their feelings.
So noticing other people's feelings, okay? Thank you, Cervantes. Quentin, would you like to add? And then Drake, you'll be next. And then Noah, you'll be after Drake, okay? So Quentin, go ahead.
So it's making so the people know how the other people feel.
Yep, so it's noticing how other people feel. Drake, you may add in.
So some people in there were feeling sad and mad.
Uh-huh.
And then she kept on noticing how they kept on struggling.
Good. She kept noticing how they were feeling. Noah, you want to finally add your comment?
Yeah. She everybody was sad and upset, and she made everybody happy.
That's what I was waiting for. So yes, we all noticed that, she was noticing how people were feeling, but did she just stop at noticing how people felt? No, she actually took the time to try to figure out what was wrong and how to help them out. So you guys have already told me about a time where you have noticed someone was happy or sad or upset. So now I am going to have you raise your hand if you want to add. But if you've noticed when someone was upset or sad, was there anything you did to personally make that person feel better? Okay, so does anyone want to tell me about a time where they actually made the person feel better? Kane, were you raising your hand?
Yes.
So what did you do to make the person feel better?
I told him to listen to the teacher, and then he started being good.
Oh, okay. So maybe a student was irritated or upset, and then they finally started listening to the teacher, and then it was all solved. Okay, good job, Kane. Does anyone else? Quentin, you want to add? And then Drake, I see your hand. You'll be after Quentin, okay?
This guy has nobody to play with. And I said, what's wrong? He said, you don't have nobody to play with. And I played with him.
That's a very common one. I like that. There's a lot of students on the playground who nobody wants to play with them. And it's like really sad. Which is important because our story tomorrow will touch up on that, okay? So good job for being a friend, Quentin, and playing with someone who nobody wanted to play with. I'm very proud of you, okay? You may mute your mic. Noah, you may go, and Cervantes, you'll be after Noah.
I see some people that at the playground that have nobody to play with, and I play with them, so they have some friends and stuff.
So kind of like Quentin, where you just notice someone is kind of lonely and you're just like, well, let me play with you. Okay, Cervantes, and then Drake, you'll be next.
I told him you don't have to be mad.
Okay, so good job. Thank you, Cervantes. Drake, you're next, and then Jamarcus, you'll be after Drake. And Kane, I see your hand, okay?
If someone's feeling mad, just do whatever you can to make them feel happy.
Yeah, oftentimes all someone really wants is a listening ear. They just want someone to hear them out. Thank you, Drake. Jamarcus, you may go.
To make someone feel happy, all you just play with them or something.
Right? So you just, technically, you could just be a friend, you know? You could just go out and just be a friend. Now, I will tell you, if there are students that I missed, I only have a certain amount of students on my screen at one time. So if you have your hand up and I don't see you, I apologize. So if you, Kane, I see your hand. So I'll let you speak in 1 minute. But if I don't see you, you may unmute your mic and you may respond to me. But Kane, what was yours?
How do we even know they're lonely?
Well, that's a good question. How do we notice when someone is lonely? Oftentimes, they're by themselves. They might have their head down. You know, they might look kind of sad. When someone's lonely, they definitely don't have a smile on their face, right? So when we notice someone is lonely, they're oftentimes all by themselves and not very happy, okay? So is there anyone else who would like to input before we finish our reading block? Okay, good job. So I'm going to go back to the slide, and basically I'm going to tell you your assignment for today. Your assignment is to identify or to notice how someone is feeling today and try to help them feel better. If, however, you don't notice someone being sad, happy, or, just sad or lonely or anything, it's okay. But you can ask them how they're feeling. So your assignment is to notice how someone is feeling today and try to make them feel better. When we meet tomorrow, you will tell us what happened and how you made the person feel better. Now, I do have another question because I totally forgot to bring it up this morning, but raise your hand if while you were brushing your teeth this morning, you read your I am sentences. Who read their I am sentences? There we go, because tomorrow during morning meeting, we'll talk about if the I am statements are making you feel better, like getting more confidence, and then we'll also talk about if there was a moment today where someone was sad or not feeling too happy and you made them feel better. So at this time, it's 9:38. I am going to give you another 7-minute break. So we will return at 9:45. Go potty, go have a snack, go relax, okay? Remember, if you're going to talk to your friends on this, it must be appropriate, okay? All right. Okay, so when we go to Google Classroom, we are now on our writing block. So I am going to click on the writing block, okay? So for our writing block, it says, please choose a writing prompt for the day from the writing prompt calendar. This is the writing prompt calendar, okay? But before I click on that, just wait a minute. And then begin to type out your writing onto the writing assignment document provided, okay? This is where you're going to write your stuff. Please make sure to write the prompt you choose, your name, and the document. So I'll show you how, okay? So right now I'm going to click on the writing prompt calendar. Okay, so right in front of you, this is the writing prompt calendar for the month of August. And the fun thing, like I told you guys yesterday, is you can choose any prompt that you want. You do not have to do what everyone else is doing. So you'll just go through the prompts and decide which one you want to actually write about today. And the easiest way that I show my students how to write this writing prompt on their writing document is, say for example, we want to write about what it would be like if you had an alligator as a pet. Now, what you would do is you would click on the document and you would just copy and paste. So you just highlight it. And then you'll come to this little button right here that says edit. You'll click on it and you'll press the one that says copy. So that's pretty easy, okay? I'll show you one more time. Once you choose the prompt out of the calendar you want, you just click, you highlight, you come to this little button that says edit, and you press copy. Now after you chose that, you can click that out, and then you will go back and you'll just click on this one that says writing assignment, okay? So I'm going to open that up. And each one of you has a document of your own that you can write, and no one can write on it for you except for me. But no other student can write on it for you. And now we have the writing prompt sheet. So if you see the word here, it says prompt. You have to write your prompt there, because if you start writing here and you don't write your prompt, Miss Nagy's not going to have any idea what you're writing about, okay? So now what we do is we're going to click right here, okay? I just saw that someone sent me a message. Give me 1 minute to answer that, but let me show this, okay? So we're going to click right here. And you remember when we copied and paste? Well, we're going to come back to this little edit button that we found to copy. And then we're going to push the button paste. Okay? And now our thing is there. We don't have to type it out. It says write about what it would be like if you had an alligator as a pet. Okay? Now you're going to make sure that you write your name here. For all sakes purposes, I'm just going to show my name. Okay? But if you were Amani writing this, you'd write Amani. If you were Cervantes writing this, you would write Cervantes. And then today's date is August 13, 2020. And then all you do is just start typing there. And like I told everybody yesterday, no, it does not have to be long. But we all know that it should not be, as short as 2 sentences. We should really write it out. So if you were to choose the prompt of what if I had an alligator as a pet, you will probably talk about how you would feed it, or would you bathe it, or how would you play with it, or where would it sleep, okay? So at this time, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And you may go to the writing prompt calendar and choose your prompt, and then you may start typing. Awesome. So we are all back in Google Classroom, okay? Yay! So we're all back in Google Classroom. Now when we do our writing assignments, after we're done and we click it out, we're going to come to writing, and you see this little one that says view assignment. You're going to click on it that says view assignment. And when you do, you're going to see kind of this, okay? So I'm going to let everybody get there in like 30 seconds. So you're going to click on View Assignment for Writing. And you'll get this, okay? Now the thing is you're looking at the teacher's screen right now, okay? You're looking at the teacher's screen, not the student's. So when you click on View Assignment, you're going to have a little button right here. It's going to be blue. And it's going to say Turn In. I believe it says Turn In. You're going to click that button, and I'm going to show you what happens, okay? So, when you click that button, your name will pop up under what says turned in, and that tells me you finished the assignment, okay? So, at this time, I want everyone to find that blue button that says turn in, okay? All right, guys, so as you're doing that, yay, I see more people turning in. This is awesome. I see more people turning in. So we are coming up to our break again, and we will have a 8-minute long break. So if you turned in your assignment, you may go have your break. You can go potty. You can go eat a snack. You can just stretch your legs, because I know that's long. And then for those, I'll help you out, okay? So I will help those who need to learn how to turn in, okay? All right, so at this time, it is time to come back. Why does it say stop presenting? Okay. It is time to come back. Thank you everyone for having your mic muted. So at this time, it is our math block, and we will just be going on to sumdog.com. So can you give me a thumbs up when you're actually there? And how you type that in is just sumdog.com. I'll actually write it on the board for you guys. We'll be on Sumdog for 15 minutes right now. And if you come to a question or you get a little irritated with what they're presenting you, if you come to a question that's hard, raise your hand and I will ask you to show me your screen and I will help you how to answer that, okay? So please don't cry, don't get upset, nothing like that. When Sumdog asks you a question that's too hard, let me help you, okay? All right, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do our first reading of Old Yeller, and then we're going to be done. Okay? And when we read our chapter books, we don't really read a lot at a time because I don't want you guys falling asleep. Okay? So we don't read a full chapter. We only read like a page or two so that you guys don't pass out. Because it's kind of like a bedtime story. Like parents read you bedtime stories for you to go to sleep. And I don't want you to pass out, okay? So our story is called Old Yeller. And remember, it's a sad story about a boy and his dog, okay? So here we go. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. We called him Old Yeller. The name had a sort of double meaning. One part meant that his short hair was a dingy yellow, a color that we called yeller in those days. Another meant that when he opened his head, the sound he let out came closer to being a yell than a bark. I remember like yesterday how he strayed in out of nowhere to our log cabin on Birdsong Creek. He made me so mad at first that I wanted to kill him. Then later, when I had to kill him, it was like having to shoot one of my own folks. Folks means family. That's how much I'd come to think and love the big yeller dog. He came into the late 1860s. The best I remember, anyhow, it was the year that Papa and a bunch of old Salt Lick settlers formed a pool herd of their little separate bunches of steers and trailed them to the new cattle market at Abilene, Kansas. This was to get cash money, a thing that all Texans were short of in those years right after the Civil War. We lived then in a new country and a good one. As Papa pointed out the day the men talked over making the drive, we had plenty of grass, wood, and water. We had wild game for the killing. Game just means birds, like turkeys and chickens. Fertile ground for growing bread corn, and the Indians had been put onto reservations with the return of the United States soldiers to the Texas forts. In fact, Papa wound up all we lack having a tight-tail holt on the world is a little cash money, and we can get that at Albany. Well, the idea sounded good, but some of the men still hesitated. Albany was better than 600 miles north of the Texas Hill Country we lived in. It would take months for the men to make the drive and ride back home. And after all that time, the women folk and the children of Salt Licks will be left in a wild frontier to settle to make out the best what we could. Okay, so that is where we stop our reading today. So, what do we know so far about our character? Where does he live? Does he live in the city or the country? Who could tell me? Noah?
He lives in the country.
He lives in the country. Who else can tell me about what we just read? Amani?
That his owner wanted to kill him.
So not his owner, not his dad, but he wanted to kill Old Yeller the first time he met him because the dog Old Yeller was a stray. He was just living on the street, and then one day he walked up to our main character, and the character was like, ugh. He was mad and he wanted to kill him. Can anyone else give me anything about our story? Okay, Cervantes? It was very short. Yeah, it was very short. We only read a page and a half, okay? Can anyone else add? It's okay if you can't. It was very short. Quentin? So, Quentin, you want to add to our summary?
You wanted to kill him first, but then you liked him.
Yeah, so he wanted to kill the dog the first time he saw him, but then he realized that he fell in love with him after he became the dog's owner. Cervantes?
He lived in the 1980s.
Good. He just mentioned the date. Good job. Well, not 1980s, but 1860s. But good try, though. I'm glad that you noticed the time, okay, or the date. Okay, Drake. Then it will be Noah, okay? So, Drake.
Wait, the dog, what do you call him? What do you look at the dog's getting when he opened his mouth?
Good. So the dog was like this dingy, dirty yellow, and they also called him Yeller because he would yell instead of bark. Noah.
That the Civil War was going on, or it ended, or it was before.
Yeah, so he met the dog after the Civil War. We'll take one more and then we're going to start finishing up class, okay? Quentin, you can finish us up.
Barking, but that's okay.
Yeah, so we talked about that where it's like we know that dogs bark, but could you imagine a dog that instead of barking, it sounded like they were yelling? That'd be really weird, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why instead of calling him Yellow, they called him Yeller because he was yellow and he yelled. Okay, so it's like a play on words. All right, guys, so the last thing we're going to do is I'm just going to say what we need to improve on and what I think, well, I would say definitely thank you so much. You guys did an amazing job today with keeping your mics muted. I'm very, very happy about that. Once again, I think what we need to improve on is our math. I'm struggling with this math because I wish you guys were just in class, okay? It's a lot easier if you were just in class and we had a textbook in front of us, right? But we'll figure this out, okay? So does anyone want to add on what they think went well or what Miss Nagy should improve? That's fine. Amani, can you give me your response? And then Quentin, you will go after Amani. So you're just telling me what you think went well today or what we need to improve on.
Well, we really don't need to improve on them, but what I think went well was listening.
Yes, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because all of you were on point with listening. Every single one of you was on what you needed to be on, and I'm very, very proud of you for that. Thank you, Cervantes, for giving us that compliment. Noah's mom.
Hi, sorry. I just wanted to make sure, is there anything that we need to be working on after we're done with the meeting?
Nope.
Okay.
If he did well with some dog, then he doesn't need to do anything. Like, well, you have your assignment to notice if anyone is sad or anything and how you're going to help them out.
Oh, yeah, you got to work on that, too.
Yep. Okay.
And I want to let all the friends know that they are doing exceptionally well, and I am very proud of the way everybody is handling and transitioning. So everybody needs to give themselves a round of applause.
Yay! Well, that is it for today, guys. I'm so happy we did another successful e-learning day. And remember, your assignment is just if someone is sad or lonely or something, just make them feel better, okay? All right. You have a wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye.
Yeah.